Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ryan Likes Aliens. So my dad told me I would be getting a residential home. I talked to this woman on the phone. I just cut up my tobacco. I woke up my friend James. You know, sometime I opened up a YouTube channel and I wrote down I was raped. And I've tried to contact my ex-boyfriend and I opened up YouTube channels saying that I want him to contact me, but he won't. Not that I really care because he was a cyberbully. Um, Alex, my second threesome, played with switchblades. Even though I'm a schizophrenic, the people coincidence people are always real for some reason. There's about 9 or 10 of them on my Facebook that are real. And there's about 17 of them that don't talk to me anymore. Like Jasmine and Brandy and Jared and Mergie and Jeanette and my first girlfriend was named Victoria and my first best friend was named Victor, things like that. And my dad wasn't giving me my disability money. They said I would be getting a residential home. I felt like I was cursed by witchcraft and this guy named Jack McCaney is real. Um, and then 9 months ago, I had a threesome with my friend Austin. See, I did used to troll people years ago. They approved my disability in weeks. Not months, but weeks of my disability. I wrote down that only on one day when I was young I did things with a boy named Brian. I wrote down my first kisses with a girl named Emma. My first girlfriend was named Alicia, and then Brooke, and then Tonya, and then Nadia, and Sabrina. And then 9 months ago, I had a girlfriend with black hair named Berta, but she left me for someone else. I did things with a boy named Nick. Um, what I believe with my schizophrenia is there's a girl with black hair that follows me around all the time with a knife and a gun. And I believe that. I know when people will laugh before they laugh. I know when a goddess will turn the air conditioner on in my house. I know when people will say look or see or the number two. Or I know when my friend James will say the word fuck before he says the word fuck. I know words before my grandmother says them. And from my one psychosis, my penis, it was 6.5, but it grew to be 8 or 9 as I got older. Only on one day when I was young, I did things with a boy. My dad is abusive physically and emotionally. And I could make a girlfriend no matter what I would do. I just shut down the channel and moved on with my life. And Facebook deleted the accounts sometimes of people who were friendly to me. There was a boy that's name was Manuel that I'd had conversations with. And this old fat transvestite that I don't like, that I try to be friendly to. No, my dad did not buy me a car. I had bleeding problems, but it wasn't because I was ever done in the behind. My ex-boyfriend, with my one boyfriend, I would always think of my two girlfriends. And then, like I said, 9 months ago, I had a girlfriend with black hair. And me and my friend Austin did threesomes on her. And my penis is about 8 or 9 inches. And my dad is abusive, physically and emotionally. All my videos had 5 dislikes on them, so I just shut down the channel. I wrote down that I don't like this guy as my ex-boyfriend. During my psychosis, I pulled out a knife and said coming to my house is illegal because I live on private property. I wrote down there was this old fat guy named Gary that wanted to have a threesome with me. I wrote down that my ex-boyfriend raped me when he didn't. My psychosis was very embarrassing. I wrote down I found humor in my ex-boyfriend's animal torture videos. Because that was hateful because... See, I had a girlfriend with black hair 9 months ago and she cheated on me. She left me to be with a boy who was a rapist. And I'm having tactile hallucinations, but I'm gonna play with knives. It's just my dad will cut food with knives and leave knives out on the counter. And my dad told me if anything were to happen, he would have got me a better lawyer. Only on one day when I was young, I did things with a boy named Brian. Knew my dad George did not buy me a car. I had 5 girlfriends in my alternative school named Alicia, Brooke, Tanya, Nadia, and Sabrina. And legally, I'm not allowed to contact my ex or I'd go to jail. Under the head contained the air conditioner go off. They thought I was retarded. I had a girlfriend with black hair 9 months ago. And like I said, only on one day when I was young, I did things with a boy. My first threesome was with my friend James, which was awesome. My dad told me I have no friends. I felt like I was cursed by witchcraft. I should be getting my disability money, on the 3rd or the 4th, or the 5th, and it's the 27th. The woman that talked about my residential home today asked me questions. During one psychosis, I threw up. Because I had stomach and bathroom issues. I wrote down that there are 9 or 10 people that exist in the world on my Facebook that shouldn't exist. And about 17 or 18 of them that don't talk to me anymore. Like, one is a girl named Jasmine with a sister named Brandy. Another one is a guy named Jared that looks like my ex-boyfriend. Another one, is my dad's girlfriend Margie, who calls herself Gigi, with a sister named Jeanette. Another one is this boy named Dan Reichley, and this artist called Damon Winning. And see, I've never even fallen or gotten a paper cut, but when I opened up my YouTube channel, I pulled out a knife from the kitchen and said, if you come to my house, it's illegal. I wrote down I live on private property, and I wrote down I don't have to answer any questions. My dad told me the police were here and asked if I talked about my girlfriend. I told him I did. They told me if I didn't show up to court for a peace order, they would arrest me. The woman asked if this was my blog, And all my videos had 5 dislikes, so I just shut down the YouTube channel. A transvestite noticed my psychosis and drew attention to it. I wrote down that I never tortured animals because I love people and animals. I wrote down that my ex-boyfriend was an animal torturer, and I have a headache right now. I told a woman about my residential home today that I've had 2 seizures from my Tourette's. And I've been in 3 psychoses as a paranoid schizophrenic person. I wrote down that there's a friend named John on my Facebook, and then a guy named John Huck and John Powell. I wrote down that this guy named Jeff McGaney is real. I wrote down that Jasmine and Brandy are real. I wrote down that I don't play with knives, but I believe in a girl with black hair that follows me around all the time with a knife and a gun. I wrote down that she is that real to me. I wrote down that my dad is a homosexual because I found a gay porno in his room when I was 7. Well, it's 2:07 p.m. I went to the bathroom and I took a shower. It's 2:09. I went to the bathroom and I took a shower. Because the baby wipes weren't working. And 9 months ago I had a girlfriend with black hair. So I went to the bathroom and I took a shower. Um, like I said, legally I'm not allowed to contact my ex-girlfriend. Her name was Tori. And then my first best friend was named Victor. And then 9 months ago I had a girlfriend with black hair. When I opened up my channel, all my videos had 5 or 6 dislikes on them. I wrote down I was documenting everything for future movie purposes. And people didn't care. I wrote down that there are 9 or 10 people on my Facebook that are real. Like Jasmine and Brandy and Jared and Margie, who calls herself Gigi with a sister named Jeanette, and this boy named Alex stole from me. They played with switchblades. I threw up during my psychosis. I just had a hard time telling if some people were real, but they're real even though I'm schizophrenic. I find it sure I get hurt or injured, and I was just like, I don't have to answer questions. And I should be getting my money on the 3rd or the 4th. And only on one day when I was young, I did things with a boy named Brian, who was my neighbor. I had a girlfriend named Alicia, who was my first girlfriend, but she doesn't open my messages. And then my first kiss was with a girl named Emma. Oh, my stepbrother's name is TJ. And his girlfriend Tessa kicked me, and my stepbrother could make girlfriends. They told me I would serve no jail time, but I wrote down that I shower a lot because of my relationship with my ex-boyfriend. And there was this drag queen. Its name was Levi that noticed my psychosis, and I told him. The last thing I told him was I found my 5th girlfriend Sabrina's channel, and he was like, "What does this mean for the story?" Some people assumed I wasn't really who I am. And then, like I said, 9 months ago, I had a threesome with my friend Austin. My dad George tells me I have no friends. My girlfriend's YouTube for years said if you're here because of my ex, I press charges on him. And see, my girlfriend would sleep with my friend James while I was at work. I told her to have sex with my friend James. And James was my first threesome when I was 20 or 21. And then my second was with this boy named Alex that played with switchblades. And then, I did some with a boy named Ryan. And my girlfriend was sucking me off more than him. And there was this slander page called Revolver Bird. Where it wrote down that I'm gay. Even though I feel as if I'm not gay. I don't feel that Brian counts. I have 5 girlfriends. I had a girlfriend with black hair 9 months ago. They said I had paranoid schizophrenia. Tourette syndrome, autism, OCD, bipolar depression. This boy named Josh noticed my psychosis and told me that National Enquirer wouldn't even publish my story. I wrote down I was raped by my ex-boyfriend. I wrote down that I couldn't find love with females. I wrote down my dad George didn't buy me a car. I wrote down that my family is evil. I wrote down that my dad would punch me. I wrote down that the Jeff McCaney boy told me that my friend James talks crap about me. I wrote down that this boy named Alex stole from me. I wrote down that I'm a schizophrenic. I wrote down that my ex-boyfriend was a fraud torturer and cyberbully. I wrote down that I couldn't find love with females. I wrote down that Jasmine and Brandy are real. I wrote down that Jared is real. I wrote down that Margie, who calls herself Gigi, is real. I wrote down that this boy wanted to put things about me on Ripoff Report, which was the slander page. I wrote down that I'm not gay. I wrote down that my job at ShopRite fired me, and this alcohol store was mean to me. I wrote down I had a hard time telling people were real. I wrote down that my dad would make fun of me because of my schizophrenia voices. I wrote down I don't like this guy as my ex-boyfriend. I wrote down that people would dress up like this at anime conventions because the treatment team that my dad hired abused me. And I knew the heck they made the air conditioner come on just now. Like I said, I am a witch. I went through stages and processes with witchcraft. There's secret witch coven urine today. The stage I made it to was witch. And like I said, there was this transvestite. Its name was Levi that drew attention to my psychosis. And then my ex-boyfriend, I'm 30, and sometime when I was 25 or 26, well actually 26, is when my ex-girlfriend sucked off this boy named Dan Brakely. And then there's this artist called Damon Winning and things like that. I wrote down that my dad was evil. I wrote down that I was in psychosis. I wrote down, and see, on one channel I opened up, I hung out with a boy named Jay. But he didn't pay for my ride back home. And then Victor screwed me over. My first best friend. And I only went one day when I was young. I did things with a boy named Brian. I had 5 girlfriends named Alicia, Brooke, Tanya, Nadia, and Sabrina. First kiss named Emma, and my stepbrother's girlfriend was named Tessa. My stepdad is named Tony. And my mom's name is Pam, and my brother is named Zachary. And then there's a man at the ShopRite named Tony that works there. There's a lady named Pam and a boy named Zachary that work there. My job fired me. There was this girl with brown hair that worked there. Like I said, my job fired me. This alcohol store was mean to me. And this trauma from this part of my life was the last part of my life. And I wrote down that I didn't care if I went to jail. Because my black friend died from the coronavirus. I wrote down that my family is evil. I wrote down my dad was not giving me my disability money. I wrote down that I don't have to answer questions. And there was only one negative comment that remained on my YouTube. My dad told me I could have went to jail for a very long time. I wrote down that I shower a lot because of my relationship with my ex-boyfriend. And he messaged me and I told him that I don't like him. And see, all my videos had 5 dislikes on them. And there were comments like, do you have any proof of this rape? Or things like that, you know what I mean? And I wrote down, I will not say I am gay. Or bisexual. I wrote down, I believe in this girl with black hair that follows me around all the time with a knife and a gun. I wrote down that I don't like this guy as my ex-boyfriend. I wrote down I didn't have to answer questions. Because this part of my life was a nightmare for me. I wrote down there's a girl named Samantha, who is a People of Points Minutes person. Because my ex-boyfriend made a video with a girl named... The cat was called Samantha, and there's a girl named Samantha. On my one Facebook. And this is going on almost 53 minutes. I hope everybody's good. Much love and peace to everybody from Paranoid Schizophrenic Ryan. I should be getting my residential home soon. They're giving it to me because I have schizophrenia, OCD, autism, bipolar, and Tourette's. And because of the slander page. And like I said, there was this transvestite that noticed my psychosis. Named Levi. I wrote down that my dad George wasn't giving me my disability money. I wrote down they told me I could have gotten a year in jail or probation. Because I said, how is that head, bro? When my girlfriend sucked on my friend's dick, and I sat in the corner and jerked off when he did. And then, like I said, I did things with this boy named Alex, who is my second threesome. And my girlfriend and I did 69. And Alex sits in a corner and jerks off when I have sex with my girlfriend. I wrote down that my dad is evil. I wrote down that my girlfriend was sucking me off more than this other boy. I wrote down that there's this boy named Jeff McGaney that is a person that exists in a world that shouldn't exist. And I wrote down that Jocelyn and Brandy are people that shouldn't exist. I wrote down that Jared is a person that shouldn't exist. I wrote down that Margie Robichaux and Jeanette are people who shouldn't exist. But they exist anyway. I wrote down that this guy named Gary wanted to have a threesome with me. I wrote down that my ex-boyfriend was a frog torturer and a cyberbully. And I was charged with a misdemeanor. Because I talked about my girlfriend that would cheat on me. And she would text these other boys. One was a boy named Spencer. And when I cheated things with Spencer, I was just using her for sex because I was a virgin. Case search says it's a peace order. I wrote down I shower a lot. And I went to the bathroom today and took a shower. I got 33 subscribers on my channel. A boy named Josh noticed my psychosis and told me I was pathetic. I've never stolen anything, but I've been stolen from. I was cheated on and lied to. And I wrote down that I would perform oral sex on my one boyfriend. And I wrote down that I would always think of my two girlfriends with my one boyfriend. I wrote down that after him I did things with a boy named Kelly on one day, and I did things with a boy named Brian on one day when I was young. There was this boy that's name was Josh that said it's, drama from my ex-boyfriend, no one cares about it. But there was this drag queen that noticed my psychosis that asked me all kinds of questions. And he was in my inbox and he would call and interview me. And then, like I said, I added this boy named Brandon. And he would send me porno videos. And then, like I said, my ex-girlfriend did things with this boy named Dan Rakely, who was a People Coincidence person. And then, me and my one girlfriend did 69. I wrote down that my first day photoshopped a picture of me that said Shelby and Ryan a match made in hell. I wrote down that I don't have to answer questions. I wrote down I was angry at this boy that blackmailed me with my ex-boyfriend. I wrote down there was only one negative comment that remained. And I had conversations with a psychologist. And then this treatment team abused me. And see, Danielle Bergoli, the Catch Me Outside girl, isn't even a schizophrenic person. Like I am, she's only bipolar. I'm bipolar, Tourette's, autism, OCD, schizophrenic, and Tourette's with epilepsy. And my grandmother is mean. And she would favor my cousins Amy and Stacy, and my cousins could all drive when they were young. I wrote down I don't have to answer questions. And I like to watch Judge Judy and Jerry Springer. And then my mom's friend died from heroin. And then my other friend of my mom's died because she was an alcoholic. And then my dad, George, was real evil. All my videos had 5 dislikes on them at a time. But I wrote down I don't have to answer questions. I wrote down that I hear voices and I have schizophrenia. And I have Tourette's, OCD, and autism. And I went to the bathroom earlier and took a shower. After I went to the bathroom, I wrote down that my dad was not giving me my disability money. I wrote down that the people coincidence people are real. I wrote down I had a threesome with my friend James. And I wrote down that I did 69 with my girlfriend and this boy named Alex that played with switchblades. Would sit in the corner and masturbate. When I had sex with my girlfriend. I wrote down that I found humor in my ex-boyfriend's animal torture videos, but it was really an altar because I had frogs and I loved them. I wrote down what my sim username was. I wrote down that my dad did not buy me a car. I wrote down that I was in prank calls, and there was this old fat gay guy named Levi that noticed my psychosis, and the last thing I told him was I found my 5th girlfriend Sabrina's channel. And he was like, what does this mean for the story? My dad George tells me I have no friends. And my dad George would leave knives out on the counter and cut food with knives. And I watch my dad's girlfriend cut food with knives. And my dad's girlfriend and her sister are people coincidence people, even though I'm a schizophrenic person. And then this boy named Josh noticed my psychosis. And I just told my dad that I said that this guy was my boyfriend. And he was like, well, you know they're going to arrest you and things like that. And then I wrote down that Jasmine and Brandy are real, and I wrote down that I was a schizophrenic, and I wrote down that my first threesome was with my friend James, and, you know, we did like 13 or 14 of them, or 15 or 16. And then I did like 20 with a boy named Alex. I did some with this boy named Ryan, and my girlfriend performs oral sex on me more than him. I wrote down, and you know, 9 months ago I had a threesome with my friend Austin. I wrote down that I don't have to answer questions, and I played the song I don't like. Because I wrote down I don't have to answer questions. You know the song I don't like, that's the shit I don't like. I wrote down I don't have to answer questions. But through my psychosis, I learned that I only do things with boys. And see, I'm STD free. I've never had an STD. I've gotten tested before. And once a week there's a new tweet where people want to know what happened to my ex-boyfriend. I wrote down that he violently raped me. I wrote down that only on one day when I was young I did things with a boy. I wrote down I had 5 girlfriends in my alternative school. And, you know, my penis is about 8 or 9 inches. And I last a long time. I last about a half hour. I wrote down that it was awesome having threesomes with my friends. I wrote down that the ACT team abused me. That I was on this schizophrenia treatment team. And I wrote down that I will not say I am gay or bisexual. I wrote down I was raped. I wrote down this guy named Gary wanted to have a threesome with me. I wrote down that I was in psychosis, and a drag queen drew attention to my psychosis. I wrote down there was a guy named Gary. I wrote down there was a guy named Jeff McGaney. That is a person that exists that shouldn't exist. I wrote down that my first best friend was a boy named Victor, and then my new best friend is a boy named James. I wrote down I don't have to answer questions. And my dad was like, well, you know, the police were just here and things like that. And then I was charged with a misdemeanor because I talked about my girlfriend that would cheat on me. and she would have sex with my friend while I was at work. But I wanted my friend to get laid by my girlfriend. And I wrote down, that having threesomes with my guy friends was awesome. I wrote down there's a guy named John on my Facebook that exists that shouldn't exist in the world, but he exists anyway. I wrote down that I did things with this boy named Kelly J. Caldwell only on one day after my one boyfriend. I wrote down that I did things with a boy named Brian on one day. And I had a girlfriend with black hair 9 months ago. I wrote down I just don't like this guy as my ex-boyfriend. And my therapist told me I could have went to jail. I wrote down that my first girlfriend, Alicia, cheated on me. I wrote down that there's a boy named Brandon on my Facebook that is a people coincidence person. That shouldn't exist in the world, but he exists anyway. And then there's a boy named Brandon Jones on my Facebook and things like that. I wrote down that my dad, George, wasn't giving me my disability money. I waved a knife around during my psychosis and said it's illegal to come to my house. And I said, if you'll come to my house, I'll kill you. I wrote down that there's nothing wrong with being gay or bisexual. I wrote down there's a boy named Rob Meyer that is on Facebook that exists in the world, but he shouldn't exist. But he exists anyway. I wrote down that this boy wanted to put things about me on the slander page, which is why my dad went out and bought me a camera. And all my videos had 5 or 6 dislikes on them, and my therapist told me I could have went to jail for a very long time. I wrote down that my dad is evil, and I said that he was a homosexual that watches Buddy Love gay porn. I wrote down I will not say I'm gay, and I wrote down I was violently raped by my ex-boyfriend. And there was a drag queen that drew attention to my psychosis. Named Levi, and people dislike my videos. I wrote down I don't have to answer questions. I wrote down there's this boy named Damon Winning that exists in the world, but he shouldn't exist. I don't know, and this is going, and then I sent my black friend Jamal some money. What day do I get my disability money, Dad?
I'm thinking if it's somewhere either around the third, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Check in again tomorrow. Maybe I'll know more.
Is there any money on my credit card?
$3.
3?
Yeah.
You said there's 3, right?
$3. Yeah. Last time I looked.
Is that enough to get me a small bottle of alcohol?
I doubt it. You can go a day without it, Brian.
That's fine.
Or a few days until you get paid. Exactly.
Alright, what's this going on? Almost an hour and 12 minutes. It's 12:45 p.m. It's July 27th, 2022. Super Buddies, good, much love and peace to read from